This is Jim Carrey, the movie, starring Jim Carrey doing Jim Carrey stuff. There's probably cocaine here somewhere too, but hey, we can't really show you. Hi, Popcorn Recap here. Today we'll talk about a 2019 comedy movie called Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Before we start, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, and of course subscribe to the channel if you dig the summary to support the channel. Ace Ventura is basically the worst delivery guy of all time. As he gives a package to the abusive man, Ace asks him to sign an insurance form while he steals the dog. Ace escapes with the dog while the man realizes that he had become a victim of the good old switcheroo. Ace waits in his car with his dog when suddenly, the owner attacks his windshield with a baseball bat because besides animal abuse, he wants to be sued for a felony as well. As Ace drives the car away, the man tries to climb inside. However, the dog and Ace bite his hands and he falls. A poster of the missing dog appears on a light post. The abusive pet owner actually stole the dog. The rescued pooch is reunited with its hot owner. If you look closely, you can actually see she's holding the dog. She rewards Ace with anyway. At night, in an aquarium, a mysterious group of people steals a dolphin. Sounds like a job for our boy Ace. Ace gets into his apartment, but suddenly his landlord surprises him and asks for the rent. Ace tells him he's on a big case with a big reward and that the rent will be the first priority. The landlord then asks if he's keeping animals, but Ace vehemently denies this and even lets the landlord snoop around. When he leaves, Ace calls on the animals like a Disney princess and they gather around him. Man, is he keeping a zoo or what? Meanwhile, Roger gets scolded by the boss for the stolen fish, dolphin called Snowflake, the Super Bowl's mascot. As Roger and Melissa get threatened to lose their jobs, they try to find a solution. They meet the receptionist who tells them that she hired a pet detective when she lost her dog. Meanwhile, Ace almost gets the albino pigeon but falls from like the top of a building. Suddenly, he gets a call. Jim Carrey seems like an alien pretending to be human here. As Ace inspects the area where Snowflake was stolen, Roger and Melissa begin to suspect his unorthodox, over-the-top nature. Meanwhile, Ace finds an amber crystal in the pipes of the pool. Later, he goes to the police station and talks with Emilio about who's handling the Snowflake case. Emilio hesitantly responds that Aguado, the officer who makes fun of Ace, is handling the case. Luis arrives and scolds Ace and so he leaves, after making fun of the woman, of course. Ace enters a metal concert. He knocks on a secret door and recites the password. The door opens and Ace greets Woodstock, his tech-savvy friend. Later, he asks Woodstock to trace aquatic equipment sales in the last few months around the vicinity. He finds a lot of equipment was sold to Ronald Camp, a billionaire and a rare fish collector. Woodstock finds that Ronald will be holding a party. Ace asks Melissa to put him through Ronald's A-list field party. Melissa meets Ronald, who stares at her creepily with his billionaire's eyes. He meets Ace, who pretends he is a lawyer. Later, Ace eats food, goes to the bathroom, and inspects the surrounding area. I am wholly convinced that Jim Carrey is indeed an alien pretending to be human. Ace finds a secret aquarium and calls for Snowflake while dangling a fish over the water. However, a great white shark appears instead. In his shock, Ace falls to the water. Ace, with his torn clothes, reappears outside of the bathroom, which now has a long line. As he and Melissa exit the party, he steals Ronald's ring, which is an amber crystal. Later, he explains to Melissa that whoever stole Snowflake had a ring just like Ronald's. He asserts that if he finds the 1984 Dolphin AFC Championship ring with the missing stone, he'll find Snowflake. Ace looks for the ring one by one through the members of the team. He gets beat in the process due to his unorthodox methods, like checking out a guy's hand while he's peeing. In the end, Ace went through the list of people on the team but he didn't find anyone who had a missing stone from the ring. While Melissa and Ace argue over his fat-phobic comments, Melissa gets a call that Roger committed suicide. While inspecting the crime scene, Ace gets interrupted by Luis. However, Ace shows that he knows what happened to Roger. He shows evidence that Roger was actually murdered and did not commit suicide. However, Luis asks Ace to get thrown out, so he can take his thunder, of course. Melissa is impressed by Ace's over-the-top detective skills. Melissa accompanies Ace as they enter the football team's locker room. Suddenly, he spots a picture of Ray Finkel, someone he hasn't spoken to yet. As they inspect Finkel's history, they learn that he had a bad play and cost the team the championship. Ace believes this is enough evidence for a motive. Later, Ace parks with Melissa while the animals in his apartment watch. I wonder if his schlong is as over the top as he is. Afterward, Ace goes to Collier County, Ray Finkel's hometown. Everyone obviously hates him because they spray painted over his name. Sheesh! As they arrive at his home, holy crap, it's full of vandalism. As Ace knocks on the door, he is greeted by a barrel of a gun. He pretends to be Ray's fan in response. Mrs. Finkel welcomes Ace and tells him that Ray will be coming home soon. As she fetches cookies for him, Mr. Finkel tells Ace that Ray won't be coming home since his escape from a mental hospital in Tampa. Later, Mrs. Finkel shows Ace Ray's room. It is filled with voodoo dolls of Dan Marino, a member of the team that she blames for Ray's lousy play. Ace plays a video of Ray's bad play. He realizes that Dan Marino is in trouble and tells Melissa to get him police protection. As Ace arrives where Dan Marino is, he sees that Dan is being taken by two men. He chases after them, however, his vehicle gets stopped and the criminals escape. Later, Louis is bugged by reporters who wonder if the dolphin case is somehow related to Dan Marion's kidnapping. As she enters her office, Ace is already inside. He tells her what she's found so far. Ace asserts that the culprit of all the crimes is Ray Finkel. Louis is impressed and decides to make out with pet detective here. She asserts that Ace should leave the case to them, but Ace retorts that he was hired to find Snowflake. At night, Ace knocks on Melissa's door and tells her that they need to inspect Shady Acres, the mental institute that still had some of Ray's belongings. The next day, in Shady Acres, Melissa pretends that Ace is her brother and that he needs to be admitted. Ace pretends that he's an insane football athlete. While Melissa is being shown the dormitories by the head doctor, Ace inspects the hospital. He enters a private room that holds patients' belongings. As he scours through the boxes, he finds Ray's box. He sees that Ray was obsessed with the football game and Dan Marino. Suddenly, the door opens and a nurse almost enters, so Ace tries to hide. However, the nurse closes the door again. In trying to fit himself inside the box to hide, Ace accidentally finds a newspaper that reports about the body of a missing hiker named Lois Einholm since Friday. Ace is shocked to learn about this, and of course he says it in a spectacular Ventura way. Back in the police department, Emilio sneakily inspects Louis' cabinets and finds a love letter from Roger. Emilio reports this to Ace over the phone. Ace ponders about the connection between Ray Finkel and Lois Einholm. However, he's having trouble figuring it out. He thinks it's just a lack of blood in the brain. I think it's too much, man. You need to chill down. As he's jumping like a maniac while trying to figure out the possible connection between Einholm and Finkel, his pet Money jumps with him. He spends all night thinking about this and he can't figure it out. He should have read the Reddit spoilers. He feels exhausted when suddenly his dog steps on a news article. Ace realizes that Louis is Ray Finkel, and of course, he remembers making out with him and suddenly feels grossed out. He runs to the bathroom like a maniac and vomits like a college undergraduate who had a 7-hour drinking session. He brushes his teeth intensely and uses a toilet pump on his face. Oh hey no, that's kinda, I don't know, over the top? Later, Ace burns his clothes and takes a bath while crying like an actor who hasn't won an Oscar yet. The next day, as he's parked outside watching Louis from a distance, he munches on a bunch of mint candy. Later, Ace finds the bad guy hideout where the criminals are keeping Dan Marino and Snowflake. He sees Louis there interrogating Dan and grabbing his pee-pee. Louis asks if Dan remembers her. However, he retorts that he gets hit in the head a lot and does not remember most people. To remind him, Louis places a football on the ground and kicks it cause she's Ray Finkel. Yes, we've established that already. Meanwhile, Ace sneaks around the area and stealthily plans on rescuing Dan. Afterward, Louis makes out with Dan after telling him that she's gonna bring back refreshments. Why is she making out with everyone here? As she leaves, Dan tries to negotiate with the thugs by offering them to pay double the price that the psycho woman was paying them. However, the thugs refuse this offer and tell him that she's keeping them out of prison. Wow, loyalty ain't a hard thing for these thugs, huh? Meanwhile, they mock Snowflake and Dan. Snowflake retaliates by splashing water on the thug. Thug 1 asks Thug 2 to get more fish for Snowflake. Ace does his over-the-top tics and hits one of the thugs while he searches for fish. He laughs like a rabid dog. I cannot believe this movie got made. Meanwhile, the other thug gets scared by the sound and pulls out his gun. He follows a trail of pebbles strategically set up by Ace and finds his thug buddy unconscious with a bucket on his head. As he pulls his thug buddy up, Ace hits them with a hook thingy and knocks them both unconscious. Later, he rescues Dan by rappelling down from the ceiling. Suddenly, Louis enters and points a gun at Ace and Dan. She calls the police force and tells them that Ace Ventura is holding Dan Marino hostage in a warehouse. As the police force gathers, Emilia tells Melissa of the news. She gets worried for our crackhead, Oscar last boy, but Emilia assures her that there's nothing he can't handle. As Louis points a gun at Ace's head, he tries and begs for his life. While the football game is playing on the television, Ace manages to poke a nerve in Louis. As she becomes increasingly unstable as the bad kick plays on the TV, Ace wrestles the gun away. Meanwhile, the police forces arrive while Ace beats up poor Louis. And so, of course, everyone just watches while Louis starts beating on Ace. She breaks a wooden box over his head and orders the men to shoot. However, Melissa enters while holding Emilio at gunpoint. And so here we go with the cartoonish Scooby-Doo exposition. Ace explains that Ray Finkel assumed the identity of Louis Einholm and that she's actually a man, so he starts ripping her clothes, and we're all uncomfortable. Probably more uncomfortable than the actors playing these roles. Sheesh. Ace shows the schlong that Louis tucked behind her panties, confirming that she is indeed a man, and then everyone shows their disgust. Soon, an enraged Louis picks up a shard of glass and attempts to stab Ace. However, he flips her and throws her into the water. Louis gets taken to jail. As the Super Bowl resumes, Snowflake makes it to the show. Meanwhile, Ace and Melissa watch the game. Melissa and Ace make out, however, he sees the albino pigeon perched on a water jug. He tries to sneak up on it, but the team's eagle mascot scares the bird away. Ace gets angry and starts beating up the poor guy. A fight breaks out while the announcer thanks Ace for rescuing Dan.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.